What's up, everybody? So, I decided to do a follow-up video on the Ron Jeremy indictment. And I'm just going to admit up front, I have actually had to do a 360-degree turn as it relates to my views, my perspective on this indictment. And I say this for two reasons. Again, I've always said throughout the first video and throughout other videos that I've made, not even relating to Ron Jeremy, that the Me Too movement is an important movement. And these charges are the result of the Me Too movement. Now, I think that women have been routinely abused in our society, and I believe that women have routinely been denied rights in our society. And I think that the Me Too movement addresses a lot of important issues, right? You know, but there's also issues with women in general in terms of the equal rights. I think in some situations women end up getting special rights, but that's not for this video. This video is really about the Ron Jeremy's indictment, and from the perspective of the indictment, I think the Me Too movement serves a special purpose for ensuring that women are treated equally and fairly, and their rights are not overlooked, right? And I think, and I'm not going to get into this too much early in the video, but I think Ron Jeremy, without intending to do so, there is evidence that he may, well, he has, right? In my own opinion, he has violated rights of several women. And actually, and I'm still a little gray on that, but and maybe I'll copy some of the videos that I've seen late in this video so that you guys can get an understanding of what I'm saying, or maybe I'll have it for the next video, right? So the Me Too movement is one of the reasons I'm taking a 360 degree turn. I'm sorry, on my opinion of the Ron Jeremy indictment. And again, so when I made the first video, I was leaning towards Ron Jeremy's defense. Now I'm not so sure, and I'm still a little confused. And I even think that Ron Jeremy himself is confused, right? So I do have the indictment. So let's take a look at that. Before me is the indictment for Ron Jeremy, and this thing is in California, right? And basically, he's been indicted by the state of California. And here's his name, Ron Jeremy Hyatt, and they give his date of birth. One of the things I noticed is that they put a number before his name. I've never seen this done before, and I don't know what it means. If you know what this means, questions, comments below to help us understand why they put a number in front of this man's name. So I don't know if there's several Ronald Jeremy Hyatts being indicted and he's just happened to be number one. I don't think that's the case, but I'm just pulling things out of there as to why they put a number in front of his name. I don't know what it means, but maybe this is something common for people in California. So if you know what this means and you're in California watching, definitely leave your questions and comments below, right? So the first thing I notice about this indictment is that it reads like reading this thing is like watching grass grow, or another analogy, it just felt like I was eating cardboard. That's how dry this thing is. So, one of the things I notice about some other indictments or other lawsuits is that sometimes the lawsuit tells a story. This lawsuit doesn't really tell a story, it just gives you information in a robotic fashion, right? Basic information. It's not really a fun thing to read, but rest assured, I have read it, and I'm going to do something different than I typically would from the other lawsuits. And I'm doing this mostly because this thing is dry, and you have to find a way to make things a little less dry or a little less boring. And this thing is extremely boring. Again, it just gives you the basic facts, and it doesn't give you anything above beyond that. So because of that, we're going to do a little something different. Now, I will still read this thing. If somebody wants me to read this thing, definitely shout out below. Let me know that you want me to read this thing, and I'll read it, right? Because some people come to my channel because they want certain things. I don't know what you guys want. You guys have to start telling me what you want so that I can provide it for you, right? But if you really want me to read this thing, I will read it. But for now, we're going to do something different so we can condense this thing and move this video along a lot faster than the typical videos that I do. So with that said, let's switch gears, right? Well, before we do that, actually, I want to point out that the charges in this indictment basically provides for, or it gives the government the right to get a DNA sample from Ron Jeremy, and it also gives the government a right to conduct an AIDS test on Ron Jeremy. So we're gonna learn more about Ron Jeremy than we typically would learn, right? Because a lot of this stuff would be his private business. And I think this is kind of interesting because some of the cases that I've discussed on my channel, the government has, gotten you know, information about that particular individual, and this information could become public because the government has it in its possession, and the government is going to present this in the case. So yeah, so this information could become public, and it could potentially violate some HIPAA laws. I'm not 100% sure, right? But basically, I think there's a DNA test, and then there's also a mandatory DNA test, and there's also a mandatory AIDS test. Now, one of the things I'm just going to skip forward to is that I've done other videos where I've tried to figure out how much time a person's going to get with this, and we're not going to get into all this other stuff. But with this one, the it tells you how much time he could get from each specific count, and I thought that was a really efficient touch to the indictment. When you get indictment, you're gonna know how much time you in for, right? So you can make I don't know if I don't know why they do this, but I would think they do this so you can make a decision on whether or not you want to make a plea agreement, right? Because he has multiple counts. Each one of these accounts carries anywhere from 15 to life in prison. So it's like they don't have to land all of these in order to get him life in prison. They just have to land one of them, and they have all these opportunities to hit him with a life sentence. 15 to life. This is crazy. This is absolutely crazy. So right now he's 67 years old. I did make a mistake in the earlier video. I thought he was like 84 years old or 90 years old or something like that. After making a video, I realized that, he's only about 67 years old. So being 67 years old and you spend life in prison, well, that's just devastating for me. I would probably just want to, just skip life in prison and say, you know what, just take me straight to the electric chair. Just get this over with. I don't want to be a senior citizen in prison, right? And then if he gets the minimum of 15 years, then that would mean, him being 67, that would mean that he would potentially come out being, what's that, like 81 or something like that. So, a lot of this stuff is just really crazy. I would hate to be in this guy's shoes. But anyway, I don't want to focus on this section too much because I don't want to, you know, tackle this stuff, beforehand. But let's get into my so-called legal analysis. And again, if you're watching this video and you're watching it for the first time, you should know I'm not a lawyer. Everyone that comes to my page knows I'm not a lawyer. I'm just some schmuck on the internet reading criminal indictments, right? So if you're a lawyer coming to this channel for any other purpose but to educate the YouTube community, don't waste your time, right? Don't waste your time arguing with me on the law, unless you're doing it in good spirit, right? uh, if you're doing it in good spirit, yeah, definitely, give me a constructive opinion or a constructive argument whereby you're not trying to maliciously combat me on these issues, but you're doing so to to enhance my understanding and to enhance the community's understanding of law, then definitely leave your comments. But if you're a lawyer and you come in here to bash and, oh, you don't know what you're talking about, this that, and the other, dude, don't even waste your time. Seriously, I'm probably just gonna delete your comment if it just comes off malicious. So with that said, everybody knows that I do videos like this all the time. This is pretty much all my channel does. I may do some different things with my channel. Well, I'm mistaken. I put some motivational material on my channel, but for the most part, people know this is what my channel's for. So if you're here for the first time, you should know that I'm not a lawyer. And if you're a lawyer and you're here for the first time, definitely, if you have malicious commentary, keep it to yourself. So go bother the cat people, I should say.